welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button so you don't miss any more shocking and captivating stories. Enjoy watching. Ryan had always thought of himself as a practical man grounded in routine, someone who never let his emotions cloud his judgment. He worked in finance, managed risk for a living, so he had a knack for reading people and situations. But when it came to his wife Emma, things weren't so clear-cut. They'd been married for 7 years. The first few years had been nothing short of blissful. Emma, with her easy laugh and warm smile, was his anchor. She balanced his seriousness with her carefree spirit. They shared everything, dreams, fears, even the occasional silly argument over what to watch on TV. They were best friends, or at least Ryan thought they were. Lately, though, something had shifted. He couldn't quite put his finger on it, but there were subtle signs. Little things, perhaps insignificant to anyone else, but to Ryan, they felt like whispers of a truth he wasn't ready to hear. Emma had become distant, not in a dramatic way, but in the small, daily choices. She'd stay on her phone longer than usual, sometimes texting in the middle of the night. She began spending more time at the gym, working out with a new trainer. Ryan noticed her clothes becoming more fashionable, more revealing, even though she had never been one for that kind of thing before. It all seemed harmless at first, but then, a few weeks ago, Emma had brought up something that made Ryan's stomach turn. She had casually mentioned a swinger party during dinner. At first, Ryan had laughed it off, thinking it was some sort of joke. "Ryan, come on, I'm serious. It's just a fun way to be spontaneous. You know, open-minded," Emma had said, her eyes wide with a playful glint. "Everyone's talking about it." Ryan didn't know how to respond. His mind raced. He wasn't even sure what a swinger party was at the time, but he had heard enough from friends and co-workers to get the gist. The idea of Emma, his wife, wanting to attend such an event, let alone suggest it, felt like a violation of everything they had built together. But he didn't want to overreact. Emma had always been adventurous, a little wild even, but she had never shown any interest in anything like this before. "Maybe we could go," she had pressed, a knowing smile on her face. "You know, try something new. We've been together for years, Ryan. You and me, we've always said we're open-minded, right?" Ryan had felt his heart race as his mind struggled to process the request. It wasn't that he didn't trust Emma. It was just this was new territory. He was struggling to imagine the woman he loved being involved in something like that. "I don't know, Em," he had said, trying to keep his voice steady. "I mean, it's not exactly what I thought we'd be doing." But Emma wasn't one to back down easily. She pressed again, more insistently this time, her voice soft but persuasive. "Think about it, Ryan. It could be exciting. A way to spice things up. We're both in our 30s now. Let's be adventurous." Ryan didn't answer. He couldn't. The idea of Emma, the woman he had married, being with someone else, he couldn't even begin to entertain it. A week passed, then 2, and the conversation was almost forgotten. But Emma's behavior didn't change. She continued texting late at night. Her hours at the gym increased. She went out more often, telling Ryan she was meeting friends. But Ryan had a nagging feeling in his gut that something wasn't right. Then came the text. It was a Saturday night, and Ryan had come home from work, tired and drained. He was sitting on the couch scrolling through his phone when Emma came in. She smiled at him, a little too brightly. Her hair was perfect, and she was wearing a new dress, one he didn't remember seeing before. "You look good," Ryan had said absent-mindedly, still distracted by his phone. "Thanks," Emma replied, her voice a little too high-pitched. "Just wanted to look nice tonight. I'm going out with a few friends." Ryan glanced up at her, noting the way her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Going out?" he asked, trying to sound casual. "Where to?" "Oh, just a place downtown." "A new spot," Emma said, turning her back to him, quickly adjusting her purse on her shoulder. "I'll be back later." Ryan didn't have the chance to ask any more questions before she was out the door. But something about her haste, the way she seemed to avoid his eyes, stuck with him. He looked at his phone. There was a message from her waiting for him in his inbox. He clicked on it, expecting some harmless reminder or something to do with dinner plans. But it wasn't. The text read, "Hey, I know I haven't been myself lately. I've been caught up in a lot. I just want you to know that I'm still the same person and I love you. But I need space to figure things out. Don't be mad." Ryan read the text 3 times, each time feeling a mix of confusion and disbelief. Was this some sort of sign? Had she found someone else? Was she preparing him for something? Was she already pulling away? His heart raced. The words in the message didn't sound like Emma. They sounded like someone trying to cover their tracks, someone preparing for an exit. But why? Was she involved in something more than just space and figuring things out? Ryan leaned back, trying to process. Was he being paranoid, or was there something more? He wasn't sure what to do next, but deep down he knew something was wrong. The unease gnawed at him. The words echoed in his mind. Don't be mad. Ryan lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling. Emma had been gone for hours and his mind raced through 1,000 possibilities. The text from her was still open on his phone, its words gnawing at him. The more he thought about it, the more certain he became that something wasn't right. But what could it be? Was she having an affair? Was the swinger party just the beginning of something much bigger? The house was too quiet. The silence seemed to magnify every doubt, every unease. Ryan tried to focus on the practical aspects of what had happened. Emma had gone out with friends. It was nothing unusual. She'd done it before. But tonight felt different. He glanced at the clock. 2:13 a.m. Ryan couldn't stand it anymore. He had to know where she was. He grabbed his coat and shoes, stepped out into the cool night air, and started his car. The thought of following Emma felt invasive, even wrong, but the uncertainty gnawed at him like a constant itch. What if she was seeing someone else? What if she was at that party, at a place he could never imagine her being? He drove through the streets, not sure where he was heading, but driven by a need to understand. His phone buzzed in his pocket and he pulled over. It was a message from Emma. I'm so sorry. I know you don't understand, but please don't do anything stupid. I need some time. I need to find myself. The message hit him like a cold slap. Find myself. What did that even mean? Ryan couldn't stop himself from replying. Where are you, Emma? The seconds felt like hours as he waited for her to respond. Nothing. He refreshed his inbox, hoping for some answer, but it was as if she had evaporated into thin air. Ryan's frustration mounted. His instincts told him that Emma was hiding something from him, and every minute that passed without an explanation made it harder to hold on to his calm, practical persona. He drove through the city streets, heading toward downtown. His mind raced. Was she with someone else right now? Was she doing things she'd never done before, things that would change their relationship forever? Could he forgive her? As he neared the area where Emma had said she was going, Ryan slowed the car. He parked a few blocks away from the trendy part of town, the kind of place where people gathered to see and be seen. He didn't want to make it obvious he was looking for her, but his eyes scanned the crowds of people walking the streets. He saw couples, singles, friends laughing together, but no sign of Emma. Then, a flash of red caught his eye. A dress. He couldn't help but notice it. It was unmistakable. It was the same dress Emma had been wearing when she left. Ryan's breath hitched in his chest as he recognized her. She was standing at the door of a bar, talking to someone. A man. Ryan's heart skipped a beat. She had her back to him, so he couldn't see who it was, but he could tell they were close, too close. The way they stood together, the way they laughed, his gut clenched. This wasn't the Emma he knew. This wasn't the woman he married. The man's hand brushed against Emma's arm, and she didn't pull away. Ryan felt a sharp pang in his chest, like a physical blow. His blood boiled. He waited for what felt like an eternity, watching them, trying to calm his racing thoughts. Finally, Emma stepped inside the bar with the man, leaving Ryan standing in the street, frozen. He didn't follow them immediately. Instead, he sat in the car, staring at the door of the bar where Emma had disappeared. The world around him seemed to disappear. His mind spun in circles as he fought to grasp reality. He had always trusted her, but now he wasn't sure what to believe. After what felt like an hour, he pulled himself together. He knew he couldn't stay out here forever. Emma would eventually come home, and when she did, they would have to talk. No more avoiding the elephant in the room. Ryan's hands shook as he started the engine and drove back home. The drive was long, every second of it feeling like a countdown to a confrontation. He didn't know what to say, but he had to say something. By the time he arrived home, it was 4 a.m. Emma's car was in the driveway. Ryan took a deep breath and stepped inside, his heart pounding. The house was dark, but the soft glow of a lamp in the living room told him Emma was home. She was sitting on the couch, her shoes off, staring at her phone. Ryan stood at the door for a moment, collecting his thoughts. But when he saw the expression on Emma's face, all the thoughts in his head crumbled away. There was guilt written across her features, and for the first time, she didn't seem like the woman he had fallen in love with. Ryan, she said quietly, looking up at him. You're home early. He didn't answer. His jaw tightened, and he closed the door behind him with a soft click. Emma stood up, her eyes darting to the floor as if she couldn't meet his gaze. Ryan's voice cracked as he spoke, barely able to hold back the anger bubbling inside him. Who was that guy, Emma? He asked, his voice rough. Emma flinched, and Ryan noticed her hesitation. He didn't give her a chance to respond. Don't lie to me, he said, his voice rising slightly. I saw you with him. Outside the bar, you were standing so closer, laughing. You didn't pull away when he touched you. So don't tell me you're just finding yourself. Tell me the truth." Emma took a step back, her face pale. She opened her mouth to say something but stopped, as if the words were stuck in her throat. Ryan's heart hammered in his chest as the silence stretched between them. Finally, Emma sighed and sat back down on the couch. "Ryan, don't say anything yet," he interrupted. "I need to know." "What's going on, Emma?" Her eyes welled up with tears, but there was no longer any warmth in them. I don't know how to explain this, but I'm not the same person I was when we first got together. I thought you'd understand, but now everything is just different." Ryan stood there, unable to process what she was saying. His mind raced. Different, was that her excuse? Before he could respond, Emma spoke again. I've been seeing someone else. We went to that party you were talking about, and I liked it. It was fun, Ryan, and I don't want to hide it anymore. I can't go back to how things were. Ryan felt the world shift beneath him, as though the very ground he stood on was crumbling. Her words were a blow he hadn't prepared for. He stared at Emma, his wife, the woman he thought he knew better than anyone. He had asked her, begged her to be honest with him, and now she was admitting everything in a way that cut deeper than he could have imagined. I've been seeing someone else." Her voice was barely a whisper, but it echoed in Ryan's mind like a scream. "We went to that party you were talking about, and I liked it. It was fun, Ryan, and I don't want to hide it anymore. I can't go back to how things were." Ryan's heart was beating so fast that it felt like it was going to burst out of his chest. The words he had feared hearing for so long had finally been spoken, and the reality of it crashed over him like a tidal wave. "You liked it." His voice was strained, filled with a mix of anger and disbelief. "You liked what? Sleeping with other people? Letting someone else touch you like that?" Emma flinched at the sharpness in his voice, but she didn't look away. She didn't apologize. She just sat there, her hands clenched in her lap, staring at the floor. "Ryan, it's not like that," she said, her voice soft but firm, as though she were trying to convince herself as much as him. "It's not about you. It's just something I wanted to explore. I never meant to hurt you. I thought if we tried it, it would bring us closer together, give us a chance to expand our relationship in a way I thought you might understand." Ryan shook his head, unable to wrap his mind around what she was saying. "So what? You thought I'd just be okay with this? That I'd be okay with you having sex with other men? You're out of your mind." Emma, her face paled as she caught the edge in his tone, but she didn't back down. "I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you. I never wanted to hurt you, but I've been feeling trapped. We've been in a routine for so long. I thought maybe we could open things up, you know. Have some fun, experiment, like you always say we should." Orion's chest tightened with every word she spoke. He felt like he was suffocating, drowning in the betrayal that was now standing in front of him. This wasn't the woman he married, the woman he had trusted with his life, his heart, his everything. And now, everything he had believed in was falling apart. He wanted to scream, to shout at her, to make her feel what he felt, but something held him back. Instead, he swallowed his anger and tried to find words, anything to make sense of this nightmare. "Emma, you're telling me that you wanted this, that you wanted to go to a party and what? Sleep with strangers. And I'm just supposed to be okay with that. I'm supposed to be okay with watching you become someone else, someone I don't recognize." Emma's voice broke slightly. "It's not like that. It wasn't about replacing you. It wasn't about anyone else. It was just something I needed to do. I didn't know how else to explain it." Orion's mind spun. He wanted to ask a million questions. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why didn't you trust me? Why couldn't we talk about this before it went this far? But all he could manage was a quiet, almost hollow, "You think this is about trust, Emma? How am I supposed to trust you after this?" Emma's face crumpled, and for the first time that night, she looked genuinely sorry, as though the weight of her actions was finally catching up with her. But Ryan wasn't ready to feel sympathy for her yet. Not after everything. I don't know what to say," she admitted, her voice small now. "I thought you'd be open to it, Ryan. I thought we could try it together. But then, when I went alone, it felt freeing, and I liked it. It was exciting. It was a side of me I've never explored before." Ryan took a step back, as if physically distancing himself from the situation. His hands balled into fists, his nails biting into his palms. He had so many emotions tearing at him, hurt, anger, disbelief, that he couldn't process it all at once. "This is insane. You've been lying to me, Emma, hiding this from me, and now you're telling me it's all just fun. You think I'm some kind of fool. I never meant to lie," she said quietly. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know how to ask for what I needed." Ryan let out a bitter laugh, shaking his head in disbelief. What you needed? What about what I needed, Emma? What about the man who's been busting his ass for you, for us all these years? The man who loved you more than anything? What about me? The weight of her actions was finally sinking in for him, and with it came a clarity he hadn't had before. He had tried to hold on to the belief that Emma was his, but she wasn't anymore, not in the way he had thought. For the first time, he looked at her, really looked at her, and realized that the woman who sat before him wasn't the woman he had married. She had changed. She had become someone else, someone he didn't recognize. And in that moment, something in Ryan snapped. "I can't do this anymore," he said, his voice hollow. "I can't keep pretending like everything's fine when you've been out there, living a completely different life behind my back." Emma's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't reach for him. She knew deep down that the damage had been done. Her excuses, her attempts to justify her actions, sounded weak now, like empty words floating in the air between them. "I never meant to hurt you," she repeated, her voice shaking. "I never wanted to lose you. But I don't know how to go back. I don't know if I can." Ryan's expression hardened, and the anger that had been simmering beneath the surface finally erupted. "Then it's over, Emma. This marriage is over. I can't be with someone who doesn't respect me, who doesn't respect us." The words hung in the air, sharp and final. Ryan turned and walked toward the door, his body stiff with the weight of the moment. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. Emma called his name, but he didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. Ryan had expected the hurt, the anger, the betrayal, but he hadn't anticipated the emptiness that came after. After he had walked out of that house, he felt like a man unmoored, like everything he had known and built was nothing more than dust in the wind. Emma had tried calling, sending texts, begging him to reconsider, but Ryan ignored them all. He knew what he had to do. He needed to move on. He couldn't stay in a relationship built on lies and betrayal. But as the days passed, the reality of the divorce began to sink in. It was harder than he thought. There were moments, weak, fleeting moments, where he almost gave in, where he almost picked up the phone and called her, convinced himself that maybe it wasn't so bad. Maybe they could try again. But every time, the image of her with that man, the way she had touched him, smiled at him, was enough to stop him. Emma had moved on long before he had known it, and now so would he. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. Emma had tried to reach out one last time before it was official, asking to meet for coffee to talk. Ryan didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. In the end, he got more than just closure. He got the peace of knowing that he had let go of the past and had chosen to move forward. And as for Emma, she kept looking for herself, for whatever it was that made her feel free. But Ryan had stopped caring. The truth was, the man he had once been, the one who believed in love and loyalty, was gone. He had been replaced by someone stronger, someone wiser. And in the end, that was all that mattered.